you're probably aware there's a in recent times, some drugs have come out, GLP-1 agonists, which act on satiety in a similar way to what we see with what I see with meat, is that it provokes, and we know from studies on that things like protein and fat particularly stimulate these incretin hormones to provide a sense of satiety. So you're doing it without the drugs, and you're getting the same sense of satiety, and it's making you not want to binge eat, and you just get full easier. So it's kind of neat to see how that physiology plays out. Meals, are you twice a day, once a day? What's your frequency look like for you?
Now I eat about once a day. Mm-hmm. I eat a ribeye once a day. That's all I eat. I do intermittent fasting unintentionally. Mm-hmm. I eat 4 to 5 in the afternoon, and then I don't eat till 4 or 5 the next day. I just am not hungry. We've added racquetball and weightlifting the past few weeks. So I find that some days I am wanting 2 meals a day, and we'll have bacon and eggs, or I'll just eat some eggs for breakfast, and then we'll have some kind of beef. I also find I'm wanting beef more than anything else.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how that does that. Now, as somebody who's been doing this for now on my 7th year doing this, that's what I want. In fact, I've got a couple of New York strips waiting for me for a little bit later this morning. Do you find that, how about negative symptoms? Did you have a lot of negative issues? Because a lot of people say, well, it's going to be constipating. You're going to have, I don't know. There's a lot of things that say they're potentially a problem. Did any problems transitioning or even today?
Before I started carnivore, I would oscillate between having constipation and diarrhea. It was a constant battle with my GI tract. My first 5 weeks of carnivore were hellacious. Oh my goodness. The diarrhea was absolutely terrible, but logically I knew why it was happening. My body was not used to the amount of fat and protein. And then I was also starving my gut bacteria for the carbs and sugar I'd been used to. So it was kind of cleaning everything out. 5 weeks, normal. I had a couple bouts of constipation, and I discovered what it was is I wasn't drinking enough water and I wasn't eating enough fat. So as long as I have enough fat and water, I have no problems.
Fair enough. It sounds like from age 12 through, I don't know when, 30s, you were frequently seeing physicians and in the healthcare system for medications and issues and ER visits, things like that. Since you've gone carnivore, have you gone back to the physician? Are you still engaged in that stuff, or do they know what you're doing, or how's that been?
I started my YouTube channel 2 weeks into doing carnivore, and I decided that with all the pain and misery of my weight had been that I could use it for some good. And I have meticulously tracked my journey from the start. I saw my physician, I believe, 2 weeks, 30 days into starting carnivore, and I told him what I was going to do. And he was a bit like, you're crazy. Like, he didn't say that, and he didn't roll his eyes, but I could tell. And him and I kind of went around, and he said, fine, if you take a multivitamin, I'll watch you do this, but you have to agree if things start to turn south, you'll quit. I said, okay, fine. I will agree to that. I'll take the multivitamin. I will stop if things go bad. I go back actually every 3 months to see him. And he was concerned because my cholesterol, my triglycerides were 343 when I started. My cholesterol, I don't even remember what it was, but it was high. So he was like, oh, okay, we're going to send you to a cardiologist because, saturated fat, it's bad for you. And I went, a few weeks after that to see this cardiologist. And I remember going in the office. I'm like, I'm just going to be straight up with him. I don't care if he's going to be PO'd. This is my health. This is my choice. And I remember him sitting down. And I told him, I'm like, okay. He's like, why are you here? He's like, I don't really see any heart conditions. I'm like, I don't. My PCP was afraid because I said I'm doing carnivore that my cholesterol is high. And he looked at me and he smiled and he's like, really? And I said, yeah. He's like, tell me what you eat. So I did. And he's like, I actually do ketovore. I'm like, really? And he's like, yes. He said, my mind has been slowly changed over the past few years about saturated fats and animal fats. Long story short, I actually have, if anybody's interested on my website, I have notes that I've cropped out to show people what he's put in there. We did some specialized blood panel tests and actually go to see him in 2 weeks. He has not seen me for 6 months. And I just had my new cardiac IQ panel done for him this morning. So we'll get to see what that is. My PCP, I saw him another time and he was a little less hesitant. And I saw him one other time after that. But the most recent visit I just had with him was the turning point. And I have to say, I'm extremely proud of him. My husband lost 27 pounds doing this. And this actually kind of plays into this. My husband had his bilateral crypt orchid when he was born. So his testes didn't drop. They ended up having to do surgery, but they waited too long to do it. And it caused some testicular tissue damage. So he's had hypogonadism for his entire life. You know, he's tall, very slender, does not put muscle on very well. And he actually had his testosterone checked recently, and he was 250, right about that in 2017. And he just had it checked, and he's 650 now, changing nothing. We thought we were going to have to give him some exogenous testosterone, but he's at like 60% higher than most males his age because he's 50. He's a bit older than I am. Anyways, the physician, the PCP, we had the same one. So we see the same one. He saw my husband's blood work is friggin' amazing. And he's seen my weight loss. And he came into the last appointment and he was just like proud as a peacock about my husband's blood work doing carnivore. And he actually sat down and looked at me. And he's like, what do you suggest? How do I broach the subject of weight loss with my other patients? Like he asked, he's like, how do people who, don't have a lot of money, how can they eat this way? Like he was actually asking me questions. I'm like, he's getting on board. Like he was super skeptical in the beginning, but now he's getting on board, at least with low carb keto. And I was just like, yes, because this doctor, there's no way he was at all going to suggest this when I started this. But I think he's seen that the work I put in, the improvements that both my husband, he's older, he's never been obese, to I'm younger, I have been obese. I think he sees a bit different body types, that his eyes are now way wide open over this.